Hey there, Association Nation. Excited to have you here for another episode of Saving the Association. I'm Brett, and this is my beautifully, ridiculously good-looking co-host, Tanner Simmons.
What up?
Yeah, I was hoping for a little blue steel action, but that's
Oh,
okay.
I got you.
Oh, wonderful. Are you an ambi turner? That's what I want to
No,
know.
I'm not. Nope.
Okay.
Left, 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 left.
But hey, we've got an awesome show for you today. Let's head into our interview with Derrick.
This one, as a lifelong Jazz fan, is fun for me. Been a guy that I've watched for a long time and heard nothing but great things about. We'll take it back to Georgia, an Atlanta native, where at Georgia Tech he was ACC Rookie of the Year, then drafted in 2010, third overall by the then New Jersey Nets, now Brooklyn. He played for a total of 4 NBA teams over the course of 12 years. Most importantly, for a team in Utah, welcome none other than Utah Jazz legend Derrick Favors.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. And Derrick, I didn't know this. You had a brief stint afterwards, quickly with the Windy City Bulls in 2023, 2024. I thought you were
Yes, I
done.
did.
So how did that come about?
I still had the itch.
Yeah.
I mean, the way the situation happened for me, I got traded from OKC
Mhm.
to Houston, and they waived me right after preseason. So I
Okay.
was just sitting down for a whole year trying to figure, what I'm gonna do next. And with the G League thing, it was just something I wanted to experience.
Yeah.
I still had the itch. I didn't know about the NBA, but I was like, I don't want to go overseas because I have kids, and
Yeah.
why not give it a try? And I'm glad I did it.
I love it.
It was a great experience.
That's awesome. Brett and I were in a similar situation after we finished my JUCO and his NAIA. We thought City League might be a good way for us to get back in and scratch that itch. So we can relate.
Right.
Well, awesome. We're excited to have you. There's a lot to chat about today. At the top of the show, we like to do something called a full court press, which I'll bring Brett. Brett never pressed on our team. Unfortunately, he was in the back holding down mid court, but
Yeah.
he's pretty good at this. So, Brett, let's go ahead and start the press on Derrick here.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone, put on the press. So Derek, what was your favorite team growing up, and what teams do you currently follow the most?
My favorite team growing up was I was a Lakers fan, and I was also a Hawks fan. Obviously, I'm from Atlanta,
That's
so
awesome.
Hawks fan. But right now, I don't follow any team right now. Whatever comes on TV, I'll watch it. And that's about it, really.
Okay, nice. And who was your favorite player as a kid? Everyone had one as a kid, I feel like. So, I want to know who yours was.
Yeah, mine as well. I mean, obviously Kobe Bryant because I was a Lakers fan growing
Yeah.
up. But outside of Kobe, I was a big KG fan. I was a big.
Okay.
I love Trace McGrady. Um, who else did I followed? Obviously from Atlanta, so guys like Josh Smith, Joe
Yeah.
Johnson, Al Horford because I watched Florida a lot growing up too. I think that was about it as far as my favorite players coming up.
So Dominique was probably finished by the time that you were kind of
Yeah, he was
him.
before me. Yeah, so
Yeah,
he was done before I got a chance to watch him play. But I
yeah.
see him
Okay.
all the time at a Hawks game or just around Atlanta.
Yeah,
We'll talk for a quick second, but no,
sure.
he's still around.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, hey, really quick, tell me why was KG? Because as a big guy, I know when we start playing a position, there's usually a player we like to model our game around. And why
Right.
KG? Why did KG stand out to you above everyone else?
I don't know. He was just a guy who, obviously he was good in the post, but he can, take it out on the perimeter. Had a nice jump shot. Defensively, he was great.
Mhm.
Offensive rebound and blocking shots. And every time you talk to the coaches at camps, when you coming up as a kid, they talk about defense and they talk about how loud KG used to, call out, certain plays or just certain actions or whatnot, just to get the kids to talk on defense. And he was just exciting to me to watch between like him and Amari Stoudemire at the
Yeah.
time. Those two guys were just exciting.
Yeah.
When did you know that you were probably NBA material? Brett and I was probably a lot earlier than yourself, but curious when you knew you're like, man, I might be heading to the league.
I want to say maybe my junior year in high school. It became sort of a reality almost because playing AAU ball and going against those guys, and then they have the rankings, and then you hear the scouting reports, and as a kid you kind of pay attention to that, and
Sure.
going against those guys on the AAU high school level, and I was doing pretty good. I was like, yo, I got a good chance of making it to the league. And once I got to my senior year, I was like, I might be one and done. So all that stuff became a reality. So I think realistically, probably around my junior year in high school.
Cool.
Okay.
Were you 6'9", 6'10" in high school, or did you grow in college?
They lie about height in high school. I was probably in high school, my senior year, I was probably 6'8". And when I got to Georgia Tech, I probably grew another inch or two. I think I might have grew another inch my rookie year.
Uh-huh.
So I was I was probably 6'9", 6'10". Yeah, so I grew an inch or two college NBA.
Oh, cool. So what was your welcome to the league moment? Rookie year comes, you're like, oh man, I'm not in Kansas anymore. What was your
Yeah.
moment like that?
My welcome to the NBA moment. I got a couple of them. One of them was in training camp, and this is when I realized how strong guys are in the NBA. I was doing a pick and roll, and I was coming down the middle of the lane. And do you remember Chris Humphries? He was
Oh yeah.
married to Kim Kardashian
Dated
for a little while.
Kardashian. Married to her.
Yeah. So they don't do this in the NBA no more, but he kind of, he elbowed me like kind of a check, whatever they call it now, into my chest, and it kind of almost caved my chest in. I'm like, oh my God. Like that's when I learned like, I got to hit the weight room. That was one. And the second one was my rookie year playing against Boston Celtics. And they had KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, that team. And, as soon as I checked in the game, because I was coming off the bench, I checked in the game, and it was a free throw. And KG was in the game, and he just looked at me and just started like growling and barking. And I was like, man, like I was prepared for it because I watched this guy growing up my whole life, but just to see it, I was like, oh man.
Did it change your perspective on KG, or was he exactly what you thought he would be?
I mean, he exactly like who I thought he was going to be. I
Yeah.
mean, the skill level was obviously like just crazy, but just his antics and the things he do on the court, I was well aware of that.
Yeah. That's great.
Man, that's awesome. So, who was the best player you ever had to guard? I mean, was it KG? Was it somebody else? Obviously,
No, it wasn't
big,
KG.
got switched on somebody. But I mean, in total, who was the best guy you ever had to guard?
The best guy I had to guard was LaMarcus Aldridge when he was in Portland.
Mm.
Like I think he's probably one of the most underrated guys, especially as a post player that don't get talked about a lot. And I mean, I just remember just going against him. I could not stop that turnaround jumper. No matter what I tried to do, I could not stop it. And
Yeah.
I mean, by far, he was probably the best guy I ever had to guard. I couldn't stop nothing he did.
And that high release, the deep two,
Oh, high release.
way up here.
I mean, you knew exactly what he was going to do, either the turnaround jumper or go across the middle with the running hook or whatnot. But he was always going to get to that right hand, and you could not stop it.
He always kind of reminded me as of a less athletic Rasheed Wallace, the way he played. He was that
that's
turnaround jumper.
Yeah, that high release. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good one. Yeah.
So you mentioned him. Is he maybe the guy that was better than you thought he was, or who was the guy you thought might have been that ended up being better than you thought he'd be when you got in the league?
Oh man, it's a couple of guys. Al Horford was better than I thought he was when I got into the league. Yeah, LaMarcus was. Tim Duncan was a lot better than what I thought he was.
Hmm.
I mean, I knew his earlier years, obviously, he was really good, but by the time I got to the league, I thought he was a little older and couldn't do the same kind of stuff. Man, he was still good. Zach Randolph too. Zach Randolph was really good. You don't know, you really don't understand how good he is until you have to guard him.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say those guys.
Those guys. Awesome.
Yep.
So what was the biggest adjustment going from the college game to the pros?
Man, everything. Like you have to grow up really quick, especially around that time because the league was still kind of a grown man league. So I remember my rookie year, I was 19, and I think the next oldest person on the team, well, not oldest, but older than me, second youngest was probably around 23 at the time. And I think that was kind of league average. So I had to come into the league, and I had to transition from being a teenager to an adult right away. that's one. And some other things was getting stronger, adjusting to the speed of the game, adjusting to the terminology. Um, I think around that time too, you had to develop tough skin because the coaches would get on you, your teammates would get on you, the fans would get on you, the GM, everybody would if you messing up, not doing what you're supposed to do. And this is before social media.
Mm.
So I mean, you just had to mature faster than what you have to now.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, there's just levels to everything, right? Like
Right.
there's guys in D1 runs that I'm like, I could never hang with them. And then those same dudes could never hang in the G. And those same
Right.
dudes aren't making the league, right?
Yeah,
And
it's a big adjustment. Like the talent level is a big gap. So
yeah.
you got to adjust and mature real fast.
If you could go back and change one thing in your career, maybe like an injury or a decision you had made, et cetera, like what would you go back and do differently?
Not too many things. I can change anything. I probably would not have signed my first contract extension with Utah.
Mm.
I can change that. I'll do that. Just because how things worked out as far as like the contracts and the years and obviously the money, I probably would have went into restricted free agency instead of signing that first deal.
Did you miss out on that one year where everyone was getting paid the Mozgov Luol Deng year? Or because there was that one year where I think the collective
I
bargaining
remember that year.
was that.
I remember. No, I think mine was maybe a year or two before that. If I can remember correctly.
Mhm.
Maybe a year before that one, I think. But
Gotcha.
I mean, the deal that I got was fair. It was a good deal, fair deal. But selfishly, I probably
Yeah.
should have waited one more year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that when you guys were a little redundant at the big spot? I don't know if the timeline of Ennis and Al
Oh my
Jefferson,
goodness.
and then Rudy comes in later. And as a fan, I'm like, listen, I love that we're bringing other guys, but like, let's get some other positions full. We have so many dudes there, right? So
That
I don't know if
that
that played a part of it.
that did play a part of it because, like you said, we had Al Jefferson, Paul Millsap,
Yep.
myself, Ennis Cantor, Jeremy Evans also.
Yep.
And then the next year, I think they drafted Rudy. So it was like, I don't want to put myself in a situation because I don't know how it's going to go. So I might as well, while the iron's hot,
Yeah.
sign this contract because I don't know how this is about to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. I'll have to call Kevin O'Connor and get him back on the horn and restructure some for you.
Kevin, that's my guy. I love Kevin.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, hey, we really appreciate letting us give you the full court press. We want to transition now to get a better understanding of your perspective on the league as it stands. A lot has changed, right? And from the 80s to the 90s and into the 2000s, everything from the advent of more three-point shooting to the way that teams are structured and player movement. What are some areas where you turn on the TV and you say, man, the league's got to fix this?
What's crazy for me is when I came into the league, I would have fit perfect in today's league because with the big man position, they just want a pick and roll guy, a guy that plays vertical, above the rim, athletic. But around that time for me, I had to develop a post game because the way I played wasn't really what they wanted. So when I turned the TV on, that's the first thing I noticed. And the second thing, I mean, the way the game has changed, obviously, is good for business. But for like a pure basketball fan or a pure basketball player, you kind of have mixed feelings about it because it does get kind of boring. You know what I'm saying? Watching guys just shoot threes all the time.
Yeah.
And just run up and down the court shooting threes. And it's almost, I want to say easier a little bit to actually to play in the NBA now than it was back then. Because, I mean, you switch 1 through 5, you come down, you shoot however many times you want to. But again, it's good for the league. So it is what it is.
Sure. I understand that. I mean, you mentioned that you would do well today given your skill set in the game. You'd be a great rim runner, right? I think about guys like Derek Lively and, a bunch of like athletic bodies who can come off of a Luka lob and just
oh man, he's living off that. Yeah.
Right? And so the back to the basket game is kind of dissolved. And as a result, you get more positionless bigs. Were you classified as a center moved forward or vice versa? Because I always kind of was like, all right, what is Derek? I think the Jazz were trying to figure that out as well. and how did you see yourself?
I think I was a forward that could play center
Got it.
because I was strong enough. I had a long wingspan. I was athletic enough, and I was tough enough to be able to guard a bigger five. But I was also athletic, quick enough to guard the fours of that era, not the fours of today, but the fours of that era. And so I mean, I accepted the challenge once they said they was going to move me to the five and bring in different kind of fours. And also, I love Ennis County. Ennis my guy, but Ennis Ennis turned me into a full-time five because he came in saying he was a four. And I'm like, Ennis, you're not a four, Ennis. Like you can shoot the ball, but you're not a four. So it is what it is. But
Yeah.
no, I was a four turned into a five.
Oh, that makes sense. And quick follow up with that, you mentioned that you had the itch to go back and play, and so you had a little bit of G League experience. Did you have more like, hey, I don't care, I'm just going to go kind of do and try some things attitude there, or was it like whatever the team needs me to do, I just want to play ball?
No, I did whatever the team needed me to do because in the back of my mind, I still wanted to get into the league. I knew I wasn't going to go into the G League and score 20 points a game. I knew that wasn't going to happen. But in the back of my mind, I wanted to still show that I can do the little things, the small things that a team needs, a guy like me to do. And I think maybe my last game in the G League, I felt that way because I was like, I don't have nothing to lose. I'm just going to go out here and have fun and do whatever I want to do. But no, throughout the season, I played within the team system. I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, makes sense.
Derrick, one of the things I heard you say earlier was how, hey, it's good for the league that there's a lot of threes and analytics has become a really big thing. And obviously, like from an analytics standpoint, it makes sense to make threes and get dunks and short twos. But what I also heard you say is for those of us that have really loved the game for a long time, it also kind of takes away a little bit of the nuance of the game, a little bit of the beauty, you might call it.
Takes away the fun a little
Yeah, the
bit.
diversity of what's
Right.
happening on the court, like those really unique players like a Reggie Evans from back in the day that just got rebounds and gave elbows and things like that. Did you play with Reggie when you
I
were
played against him. I
against?
played against all. It was tough too because he did exactly that. You knew when he was coming into the game that what he was going to do was throw elbows, rebound, play tough, play physical. But that was the beauty of it because now, you got to try to figure out this puzzle. Like, okay, this guy coming in doing this. What can I do to, not let him destroy me on the boards? Because this is how I get my playing time, and this is how I get paid. So I can't let him come in and get 20 rebounds and I only get 5. So that's what made it fun, and also, just the skills that you have to develop. Besides, just rolling to the basket. Like for me, myself, outside of that, I had to develop a floater. I had to develop a 15, 16-foot jumper at the free throw line. I had to develop a somewhat good mid-range game, be able to play out of the pick and roll and an occasional corner three. But that's what made the game fun for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I feel like now you still have your anomalies, your Draymond Green, for an example, a guy that is just a very unique player, but you don't have multiple Draymond Greens in the league anymore. It used to be like, probably every 5, 6 team you had a guy that was kind of a Swiss Army knife. Maybe he wasn't
Right.
the best scorer, but he just did all the little things, the Boris Diaz, the Lamar Odoms,
Exactly.
those kind of guys. And now it's like it seems like the league can be so caught up in 3-point shooting percentages and running and pace
Yeah.
that you
They kind
miss
of
out
put you
on
in a
some of those
box.
guys.
Yeah, they put you in a box kind of where, if you're big, you set the screen, you just roll to the basket. And that's it. And, for a big, sometimes they get kind of boring because we're doing all the other stuff. Sometimes we want to show off our hook shot, or whatever shot we take, so. But, I mean, like I said before, it's good for the league. It's fun to watch sometimes, and, I enjoy it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Brett knows what you're talking about. He's 6'5", which in the human world, the non-NBA world, that's a big guy. And so he was put on the block, but had a great mid-range and outside shot. And I think could have showcased a little bit more than he wanted to. But it worked out for him. So
It worked
he's
out.
a man that can relate.
You got to keep them engaged. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, I want to ask you about Rudy. You guys played together, and you've seen him grow from a scrawny sorry, I'm blanking here. Frenchman coming over to the league, and now he's deep in the playoffs, doing things. What's your relationship with Rudy? Do you guys stay in touch? And did you ever see him showing this much potential when you first met him?
Yeah, I mean, I love Rudy. Me and Rudy, we still stay in touch. But I saw it. When he came over, he was a hard worker. He was kind of awkward a little bit. The way he played wasn't coordinated, wasn't as strong, but he put in the work. Like he was always in the weight room. He was always, on the court working on his game. He's a he's a better shooter than he get credit for, but in the game it don't go that way for him. But other than that, man, I definitely saw it. And him winning Defensive Player of the Year, how many times? 3, 4 times. I wasn't surprised by that because he's probably one of the best rim protectors. He's really good defensively, and when he stays within his game and don't try to do stuff that he can't do, he's a really, really, really good player. Until he started trying to shoot jump shots, then it's like Rudy, let that go, man. That's not you, man. Stay who you are. But other than that, he's a great player.
Hey, Derrick, coming into the league, were you the second pick in the draft? Is that what you were?
Third pick.
Third pick in the draft. Did you feel the weight of that pressure?
I did not. I didn't. The only thing I felt around that time was trade rumors. To be honest, because as soon as I got drafted to Jersey, I was right away trade rumors for Melo. So I had to deal with that whole situation with the New York media, and just the balance of, the coach want to play me, but the GM want to trade me. So just dealing with all of that. And I really didn't feel any pressure. I was just trying to, make my name in the league, try to, figure things out. I'm happy to be here. I'm in the league. I'm 19 years old. And no, it wasn't no pressure.
Yeah, what was that like? I mean, you were an East Coast guy, or in the South, and then you get moved from New Jersey to Utah, and you probably didn't know a lot about Utah. Maybe you did, guessing you didn't. And they say, hey, you're going to go live out here in the mountains, and you're like, okay, cool. But then I feel like by the end of your career, I saw pictures of you on Twitter at Seven Peaks having a great time. Going down the water slides, the mountains in the background. I'm like, all right, this guy, he's one of us. So what was that like, uprooted from the east out into the mountains?
I mean, first of all, just coming from Atlanta going to New York, I was in heaven. I was like, man, I love New York. But the way I found out I was going to Utah, I was on ESPN. I had no idea I was going to Utah. So when I saw that, I was like, man, Utah, and I think we played Utah maybe a week before that, I think. And I think I had a good game against them. But once I saw that trade and saying Utah, I was like, man, I've never been to Utah. I don't know what's in Utah. I don't know what to expect. But once I got to Utah and I made a decision to, kind of stay there year round, I just fell in love with it. Like it's a great place. I love it. I'll probably move back there soon after my kids get a little older. But I love Utah. It's like a second home to me. I love it.
I love it. It's great to hear. We've got time for just a couple more questions. A lot of people see one side of an NBA player's game and don't recognize they have more to offer. You mentioned that, right?
Right.
You said, hey, people don't know, like Rudy can shoot the ball a little better. It's not needed in his role, but you actually had a pretty good mid-range jumper, as we saw against OKC in the playoffs, showcased around the free throw line. What would you tell up-and-coming bigs in particular about how to mold their game to have success? It's not just like, hey, specialize at the block, but what would be your advice in telling someone how to prepare themselves?
I learned a lot from Al Jefferson. He was an unathletic guy, but he had great touch around the rim. And, I learned that from him, and that's when I started working on my touch because obviously around that time I can dunk on anybody, but what happens when they take that away? Now I got to find other ways to score because I'm not getting the ball that much anyway, so I got to be effective. So I tell a young big, outside of working on your post game and dunking all the time and layups, work on, the free throw line, inside the free throw line area touch shots, whether that's floaters or, just a mid-range or a pick and pop jumper. Really work on that, and because that will open up your offensive game a lot. Because as bigs, we don't get the ball as much as we want anyway. So when you get in those positions, be able to be effective with that.
Yeah.
And have the confidence to take those shots.
Yeah, Al had the push shot, which looked so hard to defend.
Oh, my God. You knew he was going to do that shot.
Yeah.
You still couldn't stop it. It was amazing.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I'm sure in practice you were pretty frustrated, but also encouraged to know all right, I could develop something like this too.
Oh yeah, we played one-on-one a lot after practice. Me, him, Paul Millsap, Ennis Canner, Jeremy Evans. We played one-on-one after every practice, and that was like super beneficial for him.
That's
Love
great.
it.
And the
Yeah.
dreads and beard are a nice addition.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Had to change it up. You know, I
Yeah.
was looking like a young kid in Utah, and now I had to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, you should see Brett and I without this. Not great for
I
us.
just shaved my dreads off, so it's
Are you a Denver Nuggets fan? I see you with the hat.
no, actually, I just recently I tried diversifying my NBA portfolio for my hats. I'm actually a huge Chicago Bulls fan.
Oh, really? Okay.
A Jazz and a Bulls fan came together years and years ago,
Yeah.
Wow.
and we chat all the time. And I am still bitter, of course, about the late '90s, and he's upset that Derrick Rose had his injuries, and so we're both hanging on at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
And now he's got the joy of knowing that he missed out on Cooper Flag too. So
Dark days, Derrick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of teams are.
Yeah. Yep. So anytime we find any other NBA gear we can, we try to appeal to the people, right? To the masses. So
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
that's
I got
awesome. Well, thanks again, Derrick. We appreciate it. And for everybody watching, go follow Derrick on Instagram. Go to YouTube and check out Derrick Favors highlights. There's some great stuff too.
good
Derrick
stuff.
was a beast. And
I appreciate it. I might go look myself. Wow.
you should. He threw it down over a lot of people, played an awesome game. In particular, I think his rim running and his shot blocking is some of my favorite stuff defensively that I've seen with the Jazz alongside Rudy. And let us know in the comments some of your favorite memories of guys like Kevin Garnett, Derrick Favors, any of the other bigs, Brett Vriesman, if you have any of that footage. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Appreciate it.